Hi, I'm Darren, and this is the Broomhouse Hub. This morning we went to harvest these amazing pumpkins and squash from the Broomhouse Market Gardens and the Red Hall Walled Garden. So we've chosen to make the pumpkin puree for this video purely because it's so versatile and you can make a variety of things, pumpkin pie, pumpkin soup, and it can be frozen and kept for 46 weeks, which is ideal because you're not going to use it all over Halloween. And so we're making this, so next week we're going to use this to make a few things and show you a few quirky little ideas that you can use it for. Every year for Halloween we throw away so much waste in pumpkins. I think it's going to we waste 8 million pumpkins, which equates to 18,000 tonnes of edible flesh that just gets thrown away when you could use it all to make delicious foods, even freeze some of that and keep it till Christmas to make something then. So we've got a variety of pumpkins here today. We've got Jacoby Little, Patty Pans, we've got Jack-o'-lanterns, Big Macs, and Pink Banana. So I've got my pumpkin here, which I've just halved, and I'll just quickly show you how to de-seed it and take everything out from the insides. So I use more like a big spoon would be perfect. Something that's got a wee bit of curve on it, just so you can basically get in there and scrape. And you're just basically scraping the sides of the inside. Take a bit there, pull it in there, and we'll just get the remaining seeds out here. As you can see, we've got a lot of pumpkin seeds which we can use. So you can cook these, which I'll be showing you in the next video how to cook these, but you can also keep them till spring, keep them dry, and then you can plant them in May, and that will grow a wee pumpkin plant. And even these bits, the stringy bits that you might look a bit gruesome, all this can be used as compost, so there really isn't a need for chuck out any part of the pumpkin. So we're also using our pumpkin, the whole of our pumpkin for cooking, and that's why we've halved it and got easy access to the centre and such. But a lot of people will be carving, so I'm just going to show you the best way to carve and get the guts of the pumpkin out. So we're chopping the lid off at a 45-degree angle so the lid doesn't fall in afterwards, so it should fit back on top. So once you're making the lid for the pumpkin, you just make sure you make it wide enough so you can get your hand in there comfortably, or a spoon in there. So you can see how dense this pumpkin is and all this delicious edible flesh on it. We're actually going to cut a wee bit more. As I say, it's a bit dense, so we're going to cut a wee bit more so we can get a hand in there, or as a spoon to scoop at the guts. Now that we've got all that out of the way, I can get the spoon in there and just get to scrape out the entrails and the seeds and that. Obviously, if you're getting carving kits, you'll get like a spoon with a serrated edge, so it's going to be so much easier just to get in there and scrape all that out without taking away too much of the flesh. So all the seeds, put them in there, so we'll use them later. So what you're trying to do is get basically all the stringy bits out. You obviously see the seeds quite easy, but the stringy bits are stuck to the flesh, so if we can just make sure you get a good scrape in there, you'll see there it coming out. So all these wee bits here that are stuck to the flesh, because once we've got that out, you're just left with the flesh of the pumpkin. There's a stringy bit there, as you see, it's a different colour to the flesh, and you'll probably notice that on your own pumpkins. So when you take the lid off as well, you see all this flesh here. Now you're not going to need that because the lid's going to sit on this part, so we can actually just take some of that out. If you've got any of that excess flesh on it, you can just tear that off anyway. So there's a few parts we've just taken out that you won't actually need them to use to make the puree. And then when you're doing the face for the pumpkin, taking it squares or circles, whatever you're doing, just make sure you keep the flesh from that as well. And then all this will add up at the end, and you'll have plenty to make the puree we're making in the video. So to make the puree, we've halved it and we've seeded it, took everything at the middle. You see there. Now you can half that, but you really don't need it. You can just take that and you can put it on your tray. You see here's a small bit we'll be using. And you can have it face down or up, it doesn't really matter. We're going to put that in the oven at 200 for about 40 minutes to 50 minutes, or until it's tender. So you can put a fork in it and it'll feel a bit softer. So that's been about 45 minutes, so we're just going to check now. Perfect. I say it's went really dark, crispy, but you're actually going to peel a bit of this layer off, and as you can see underneath, it's a nice golden brown. You're just taking that off. You can even use this bit, it really doesn't have to come off, as long as you're getting the back bit, which is the, the thicker skin, that has to come off. And that should come off the easiest. And it should really just come off quite easy. You don't have to use a knife or anything like that. It may take a wee bit of time, but it's definitely worth it. So that's all the skin off the cooked pumpkin. I'm just going to chop up, it'll be nice and soft. And all we're going to do now is we're going to put it in the blender. But you can use a masher and just mash it with a wee bit of water, that works the same. Just going to put my chunks of pumpkin in there. I'm also just going to put a wee bit of water in there so it doesn't dry out. You don't want to put too much in. So I'm just going to keep an eye on it, make sure it's not drying out, make sure it's a nice consistency. There we go. So that's how you make the pumpkin puree. Don't let your pumpkin be one of the 8 million this year that gets completely wasted. Make this and get ready for our next video where we'll be turning this into something delicious.